Hope you're all doing well. It's been a crazy, crazy, crazy day. 10/10, actually the 1-year anniversary from the G5 minus geomagnetic storm that we've had back in 2024. So it was a very strong G4 storm. It even reached like G5 levels just briefly. That was something that we also forecasted on the channel to be stronger than expected way back then. People are like, no, G3, whatever. Well, it was like G4 plus G5 minus. So one year anniversary to that. Big magnitude 6 earthquake has now struck off the coast of South America in Drake Passage. And this is the 3rd earthquake in that location, greater than magnitude 7 this year. We forecasted that there was very likely to be an even stronger earthquake in the Drake Passage this year. So we had a 7.4, a 7.5, now a 7.6. And that's because of the antipodal action that exists between Drake Passage and Kamchatka. They are almost exact antipodes of each other. We also just mentioned the general craziness. Of course, we had the magnitude 7.5, was it? 4? Magnitude 7.5, 4? I think it was 4. Sorry, I'm blanking right now. But the big earthquake in the Philippines just yesterday, but there's also on 10/10 in terms of universal time, and a huge market crash. So you see how these things come together, all coalescing at once. Now, what could be the reason for this? That's a difficult question to answer, because you can start to peel back layers to the onion. We can look at the earthquake and space weather connection. We have this coronal hole on the sun, and it has certain unique features to it. Effectively, it's an area in the atmosphere of the sun that's deficient in plasma. Because the magnetic field is streaming out, and it supercharges it, accelerates it, and so it's always being shuttled out to space. We're about to be hit by this. We've been hit by this multiple times now, this coronal hole high-speed stream. This one is special because it's in this trans-equatorial portion. You get a lot of coronal holes that'll be down here or up there. Right here is the ecliptic plane of the sun. And so when you have a feature like this cut through that ecliptic plane, it means that it's going to hit the Earth with its high-speed stream. What happens is you get a dose of space weather, usually a geomagnetic storm of some level. We are expecting active to G1 conditions from this imminently. This solar shock wave that was picked up by Solar Orbiter, which I've been reporting on, this big, like nearly 30 nanotesla jump in the solar wind, no idea where that is. It hasn't materialized. It was received by our forward probe exactly in front of the Earth, only 10 degrees off of latitude, but we haven't been hit by a big solar shock wave. So that's a really big, like, what the heck is happening? This, though, is likely to hit us. This coronal hole here specifically is linked to multiple high magnitude earthquakes. And things are almost getting a little biblical at this point, which is why I put that in the thumbnail. Because we had this big earthquake yesterday in the Philippines. Let's go to our USGS latest earthquakes map. And here we have that. We can put our largest magnitude earthquakes first. 7.4 in the Philippines, that's right, 7.4. Of course, we also had a big aftershock there as well. So that was a 6.7 aftershock right there. We also had, this was upgraded, no, this is a new one. No, okay, this is a week old. We had this 6.6 in the Papua New Guinea back on the 7th of October. Here's the latest 6.3 that ruptured just nearby today on the 10th. That was covered last night, so it's nearly 24 hours now. We've been having a lot of earthquake activity up here in Kamchatka, and of course our biggest earthquake of the bunch is this Drake Passage earthquake right here. So a lot of activity. This earthquake we forecasted on the channel, and I have links in the video description. You can click those videos if you want. They were live streams, and one of them had the timestamp, the other one just watch to the beginning. You'll get that forecast prediction. But Kamchatka and the Drake Passage are antipodes to each other. And then also the Philippines. I put out a notice that this could, the original earthquake that occurred here in this area, which is just a little bit more than a week ago, that earthquake, 6.9 I believe, I talked about how that could be a foreshock for something bigger, and then just nearby we get this 7.4. So that also played out. But things just seem to be getting a little biblical now because of this constant earthquake activity elevated now for 2025, but really, it's really starting to accelerate, it seems. And also what's been happening in terms of our solar system. We have all these comets flying around. And let me show you that right now because this is fascinating. This is from the Sky Live, and this specific animation was created by Dobsonian Power. He posted it on Twitter, and instead of recreating it myself, we're using it because it's all just from this website. But look at all the comets. He has 17 that he plotted in here. And you see something really interesting. Going from when this started to the middle of next year, notice how all the comets pull away from the inner solar system except Pan-STARRS right there. Here's 3I Atlas, okay? So we see it flying out. But look at how all these comets are close into the solar system when 3I Atlas is close in. I just restarted it, okay? So we have, where is our Atlas comet? Oh, it didn't restart. Here's 3I Atlas, okay? We have all these comets in the inner solar system, and look at how as it travels away and we move further and further in time, all this activity nearby actually drifts out. This is really interesting. I mean, we've been talking about this, but this graphic with 17 comets really shows it unlike I've been talking about it before. And the pulse of activity, I mean, we knew that we were in this, but seeing this so clearly laid out, how everything moves away starting about the middle of next year, really is a sign that there is something happening and that these comets here have an effect on our local terrestrial geophysics and probably also weather, and of course probably also our society and consciousness and more. I mean, there's so much myth and legend and tradition and history around comets and them being omens of change and often not good change, like wars and famines and pestilence and stuff of that nature. But this is a very strong dynamic at play right now electromagnetically at the surface level in our inner solar system, and then you could go one step deeper and talk about like the conscious quantum field and how that's interacting with us at that level, and therefore how it's expressing changes to us individually and also societally. We know that we see profound shifts in society with solar maximum. We are in solar maximum right now. We typically see more wars and also greater revolutions and greater synchronicities and creativity around solar maximum. So it kind of has this dual dichotomy to it, where some people use this extra energy from the sun to further their own kind of sole purpose life mission and express their creative gifts and passions. And then at the societal scale, it seems to kind of lead to revolutions, chaos, overthrowing governments, and sometimes even war. That is a dynamic that does exist. So we have all these factors combining right now, and things seem to be getting a little wild as a result of that. But this magnitude 7.6 is the latest, and this is not the biggest earthquake that could happen here. So I think I'm going to have to search the catalog to set it to 2025, but let me set to all the big earthquakes in 2025, okay? These locations, let me zoom out again. I guess I'll have to stay zoomed out. These locations right here, Drake Passage, Kamchatka, are nearly exact antipodes of each other. Well, look at the earthquakes that we've had in the Drake Passage, okay? We've had this 7.6, 7.5, 7.4, and then we get these two over here as well, okay? But three big magnitude 7s. Well, if we go to our other antipode, which is Kamchatka, we can see that we have an 8.8, a 7.8, a 7.4, 7.4. A lot more energy released in the Kamchatka Peninsula area than down in Drake Passage. And if we switch to our oldest quakes first, let's go down this, okay? Because we have our first Drake Passage earthquake in May. So we'll find that it was May 2nd. Let's find that one. You see there's a lot of magnitude 6+ earthquakes, and that happens every year. Here's our 7.4 Drake Passage, okay? 7.4 Drake Passage, and then that was May 2nd. The next one that we want to check is going to be right here, our 7.4 Kamchatka. So you have Drake Passage, Kamchatka, okay? Then you have the megaquake, which is going to be right here. Here's our megaquake. And you have more activity along Kamchatka. Well, if we go back down to South America, we'll see that the next earthquake occurred August 22nd, right here. 7.5, 7.4, now 7.5. Ping, ping, ping. Okay, well, what happened after August 22nd? We can scroll down the list to mid-September, 7.8 in Kamchatka. That's bigger. Not as big as the megaquake, but a big earthquake. Ping, 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 ping. Now, as we forecast, as like because of that action, it seems like it's going to continue. Now our latest earthquake here, bottom of the list, 7.6 today on 10/10, the numerology portal 10/10. So the fact that we had this 7.4 in the Philippines today, as well as the 6.3 Papua New Guinea, 6.7 aftershock, 7.6 Drake Passage, huge burst of earthquake energy over the past day, 24 hours, and really over the past week, over the past month, over the past year. It's been an absolutely crazy year as it relates to earthquake activity. And you can look at this coronal hole here as one factor, and this lines up exactly with it being center and geoeffective with there being these big earthquakes. We can go to our volcano discovery really quick to check that out. Here we have that data thanks to volcano discovery. All this is linked in the video description, by the way. Now this doesn't go back more than 30 days. I suppose look at this one, but it's still not updated yet with the latest data. So, but you'll notice this periodicity, okay? This is two earthquakes stacked together, the 7.4 and the 7.6, because they both occurred on the 10th of October. But this is about 28 days in between all of these. So we have the megaquake, and then we have this big earthquake there. That was the 7.5 Drake Passage. This is the 7.8 Kamchatka. This is another earthquake there. I'd have to look to see exactly. I'm not sure I remember off the top of my head. And then here is our 7.4 Philippines and 7.6 Drake Passage. But look, 28 days basically in between all of them. And well, what's 28 days? 28 days is the periodicity for the sun to rotate in the center. So that coronal hole is swept by more than 4 times now. But for the past 4 rotations, boom, 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 shakalaka, we have had big earthquakes. And it doesn't look like it's going to close up anytime soon. We're probably going to have that coronal hole rotate by all the way till the end of 2025, perhaps into 2026. You add in all the comets being exceptionally active right now, just more cometary activity than normal, and then you add in an interstellar object, the largest ever observed. We don't know the size of this thing. That's what I've been talking about now, guys, for more than a few weeks, more like a few months. Ever since we observed 3i Atlas, basically that popped into my mind, like this could get wild. We accurately forecasted this megaquake there 3 days in advance, and actually going back a few months, we talked about how the risk of a megaquake was going up dramatically. This is the first magnitude 8+ earthquake in 4+ years, which is why things seem to be overdue. Then we had it 3 days before. We called the location and said magnitude 8.5 or greater. And then we've been having all this activity here. So I'm not here just to like to toot my own horn. I'm showing really clearly that if you track this stuff and if you look at things holistically, it does seem that you are able to make some accurate forecasting of global earthquake trends and earth energy trends in general, especially when you layer in the recent trends of earthquake activity, where has been rumbling, where it looks a little anomalous, and more. You could even take that out though and just in general probably predict, okay, we have a magnitude 7 coming up somewhere and you'll hit it. But if you look specifically like that's a little odd, then you could probably pinpoint the location of a bigger quake that's coming, which is what we've been doing. So you add in planetary geometry to this and it even gets more compelling. We do have some planetary geometry right now. It's not as significant as it was recently, but we do have some planetary geometry. It's worth showing. Here we have today, and you'll notice right there off the bat, we do have this line between Neptune, Saturn, Earth, and Venus. So that is a planetary geometry that's active. And then you also do have a bit of like a bent angle here between Mars, Mercury, the Sun, Earth, and others. So there is some active geometry and then a little bit of a line, not perfect though, with Jupiter, Venus, and Mars. I wouldn't really count on this being the primary factor, but you just start to add these things in, look at things holistically, and it kind of starts to make sense and these things happen. Long-term viewers of the channel are not surprised by these earthquakes and know that I've been forecasting them. And thankfully, Drake Passage is pretty much uninhabited. Like, no one's really going to get hurt from that, as best we know. The Philippines quake was quite destructive. Quite a lot of lives lost, a lot of damage, a lot of people freaked out. So that's very unfortunate. Sometimes these quakes do hit in big locations. But yeah, we see this. I mean, just look at it. Just look at the periodicity. It's just like these patterns are just so clear. And my rule of thumb always is that if you get one thing that's weird, okay, maybe it's a coincidence. 2, you should start paying attention to it. 3 in a row is when it's like, okay, this is almost certainly something. And then you get 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, how can you deny this anymore? Like, really, how can you deny this? It's undeniable at this point. Now, before we get into how this is kind of a little biblical, I do want to announce that we have some new merch on the website. I love this shirt. It just came in today. I put it live as soon as I could. Explore the cosmos within. This is a 100% cotton t-shirt, just unisex sizing. And it has all the sizes going from small to 4XL. So it comes in white. On the back, you can see the cosmic pyramids as painted by my dad, Earth Evolution, at the top. But it also comes in this midnight blue color, which is also really nice. So I love this shirt, and I really like it because, see this Fibonacci spiral? I lined that up exactly on the solar plexus. So it has really nice sacred geometry built into it, and it also has definitely a cosmic feel to it. My dad painted this just recently this year because we were getting ready for Cosmic Summit, and we know that pyramids and everything are a big deal with the people that attend there. And he connected to these energies. He's a very creative guy. He connected to these energies, and just like it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, he was painting cosmic pyramids and just in this creative flow state with it. And this is one of the best paintings I think he's ever done. I think he agrees with that. So that's on the back, and you can pick this up at earthevolution.com. Of course, there are other products in store. The only product not in stock right now is the herb coffee. We will be back in stock with that next week, but everything else is in stock. We just had a huge shipment of crystals come in, so those are totally in stock. And you can pick up his prints also here on the website as well. But just scroll all the way to the bottom at the store, click this, and you'll get to the page. It's also linked in the video description. But I just love this shirt, and I'm so happy to offer this to everybody because it's just really the message, the design, the geometry, everything is really has great energy to it, and it's just 100% cotton, and it's a great shirt. So the other thing though is this getting biblical? You know, I have a lot of people on the channel that are big into the Bible and Jesus and everything, and I'm accepting of everybody. I look at all the different religions with interest and faiths with interest. So, I've been inside Hindu temples, I've been inside Buddhist temples, I've been in mosques, I've prayed in churches and Eastern Orthodox and all the places. I am just a proponent of connecting to your spirit. But there's certainly a lot of ancient wisdom that has been written down in these religious texts, and the Bible is no exception. And I have people all the time on the channel posting some of these passages from Revelations. And well, this one's interesting. We'll go to it's chapter 6 or Revelation 6, and then number 12. I watched as he opened the sixth seal. There was a great earthquake. The sun turned black like sackcloth made of goat hair, and the whole moon turned blood red. And the stars in the sky fell to earth as figs drop from a tree when shaken by a strong wind. And it goes on. The heavens receded like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island is removed from its place. The kings of the earth, the princes, the generals, the rich, the mighty, everyone else, both slave and free, hid in the caves and among the rocks and the mountains. And it was just a great day of cataclysm and rebirth and transformation. We also have the Hopi prophecy, which speaks of 3 great shakings. And it's just very interesting how they discuss here in the Bible, great earthquake, the sun turning black, and also the moon turning blood red. You get the moon to turn blood red from either a total lunar eclipse, or if there's a lot of fires and there's smoke in the sky, and the moon will be blood red as a result of that. But we're having the earthquakes. We have these coronal holes which show up as black on the sun if you look at them in certain ways. And we did have a total lunar eclipse recently where the moon went blood red. So I'm not saying this is the time of Revelations, but you also factor in the stars in the sky. We have these comets. I mean, it is odd, the parallels that exist. And I think it may speak more so to moments and times where you have these congregations of celestial events that influence Earth geophysical events, rather than maybe one cataclysmic event. I'm not here to debate the Bible or anything. But there's certainly a lot of ancient wisdom stored within these religious texts, not only from the Bible, but also the Vedas and more, right? The Quran. And people weren't totally clueless back then. There were a lot of very intelligent, smart people looking up at the sky, observing what was happening. So a lot of these things probably were observed before in a lower resolution, lower fidelity way, and then that knowledge, information, wisdom was stored within these texts that have stood the test of time. As humans, we do have a few things figured out. And we have done a fairly good job at passing down some of this wisdom. Now, I found this webpage here talking about the 3rd shaking of the earth, the Hopi prophecy. We can just read through this really quick. The Hopi prophecy of the 3rd shaking of the earth. In Native American wisdom, the Hopi tribe spoke of a powerful prophecy known as the 3 great shakings of the earth. The first 2 shakings are believed to have already occurred, being the First and Second World Wars, both global events that deeply impacted all of humanity. The 3rd shaking, the Hopi said, would come at a time of great upheaval, marked by an increase in extreme weather events of all kinds, such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, tsunamis, storms, fires, and floods. We've been having huge floods in Spain and parts of Southeast Asia, and just in general this year, we've been having huge floods. We had that tsunami that was launched from that megaquake. Thankfully, it didn't do much damage, but it did ripple out across the entire Pacific. We're having big volcanic eruptions at Hawaii. Thankfully, it's kind of contained in the Kilauea zone, but big volcanic eruptions there, all across Indonesia. Huge volcanic eruptions in Kamchatka, in South America. We've been having one of the strongest years ever recorded for earthquake activity. So that's all effectively there. There would be signs that Mother Earth was entering a sacred birthing process and at a time of deep cleansing, purification, transformation in our world, which definitely we're going through. Because we need think of all these Gen Z revolutions that are occurring right now. There's so much wrong and so much corruption that we're undergoing this rebirth process. We've inflicted so much harm to the world with our pollution and the sixth great extinction that also is like a very powerful dynamic at play. So there is this rebirth process that's unfolding, and the Hopi spoke of that with this prophecy long before this all occurred. The Hopi understood the earth as a sentient, sacred being and our living, breathing mother, with indigenous peoples living in harmony and in balance with nature, honoring the lands, the waters, the entire planet, and with great respect for all that she provides. That's exactly what I believe. That is just what makes sense. The science actually supports that. If you're not on board with that, then you need to do a little bit of research and also do a little bit of connecting to the earth. Go on a hike and maybe take a mushroom or something because you'll feel the connection, and there's so much more consciousness beyond just ourselves. That is a programmed idea that goes back like to the 1500s, that only humans are, actually goes back to basically the Bible. So the Bible's not perfect. Basically that humans are the only, sentient conscious beings. Everything else is inanimate and meaningless, but meanwhile the universe actually makes up 99.99999999999 ad infinitum of the universe. And so if you're the only meaning in the universe, but you're only like 0.0000 etc. percent, then what's the point of it all, right? It's a very defeatist mindset. So that's clearly just not the truth. It's a limiting belief that's been programmed into people. But the Hopi understood this because they were connected with nature every single day. It was in their way of life. They couldn't disconnect. They couldn't live on their 8th floor and scroll, Twitter or TikTok endlessly and just totally disconnect from things. The Hopi taught that the earth moves through natural cycles of release and renewal, and that when humanity strays from living in alignment, the earth responds with a great rebalancing as a natural consequence. I don't think I need to say anything more than that. At this time of the third shaking, the Hopi believed that global civilization, conflict, and disharmony would become so widespread that the earth would begin to call out to her children, and she would urge us, as the children who live upon her, to return to peace, unity, and harmony with one another, with Mother Earth herself, and with all life. At the same time as the third great shaking, the prophecy also speaks of a shift into a new era, which coincides with the Hopi rainbow, warrior prophecy that foretells a tribe of millions of people from all races, nations, and walks of life who would hear the earth's call and begin to awaken spiritually. That's happening right now. That's happening absolutely right now. One by one, these people who set aside their differences begin to unite and return to a way of being that is rooted in love, healing, harmony, and balance upon the earth. Many believe we are now living in this time, the time of the third great shaking, where the old ways of division, disconnection, and imbalance are beginning to dissolve and something new is about to be born. The birth of a new humanity, one that recognizes our shared responsibility to walk gently upon the earth, to return to balance and harmony, and to honor the sacredness of all life upon her. The earth does not belong to us. We belong to the earth. Chief Seattle, the time to awaken is now. I agree with all of that. So the Hopi were well ahead of the curve. And yeah, I mean, I'm from California. I'm a little bit of a hippie, the true California boy. But there is just something deeply resonant and true about that. I hope you all feel that as well, because we are born of the earth. Everything in your body came from the earth. The earth eventually, it formed from stardust and all that stuff, so it does eventually go back there, but you wouldn't be here if you weren't drinking the water that the earth provides, that you're eating the food that the earth provides, that you're breathing the air that the earth provides. And just as she gave you this gift, she can take that away just as easily. She has this power within her. We're seeing that today. A magnitude 7.4 in the Philippines, followed up by 7.6 in Drake Passage, and both of those being forecast because we've been looking at the trend. So if you connect to the earth, like we do on the channel every single day, you connect to the sun, they'll tell you their secrets. They'll give you the lowdown as to what's happening. That's what I believe. And it doesn't take a genius to figure this out. At least I don't think so. So that is what's been happening today, and it seems that this is going to continue. I do think this factor here at the comets is really, really fascinating. I've been talking about this, of course. I've been talking about 3i Atlas. It's now past Mars. It is approaching perihelion. In this graphic here, it's already past perihelion. As you see, it's now December. But look how they go in close and then they spread out further away. There are dynamics at play here that are beyond our understanding, and they are interstellar, even perhaps intergalactic. We don't know if 3i Atlas is from a different galaxy. It could be. It doesn't have to be from our galaxy. It could be from somewhere else beyond. Like, it could be an intergalactic object. We don't know. We really need to send a probe to it. We're hoping that when it flies by Juno, NASA will send Jupiter, NASA will send the Juno probe to get close to it, but there's no confirmation that they'll do that yet. But at this moment in time, we don't know what it is. We don't know how big it is. We really don't know where it's from. It's clearly not a comet, or at least any comet that we have knowledge of. There's no tail to it. It's been changing colors. Too many bizarre things to list off. Do I think it's aliens or like some technology like that? I personally don't. I just don't get that intuition. But I think it's beyond that, actually. I think it's beyond 3D materialistic understandings. I think we're speaking about a more higher level consciousness field when we're talking about 3i Atlas, when we're talking about all these comets, when we're talking about the Earth, the Sun, the planets, space, the cosmos, and more. So that is your update for today. You can explore the cosmos within with me here, Stefan Burns, on the channel. Almost every single day I release videos talking about what's happening with the Earth geophysically, geologically, energetically. We also look at then, of course, the sun, solar activity, space weather, planetary resonances, planetary geometry, all these comets, interstellar forces, cosmic forces, and more. So if you like the sound of that, then please subscribe, smash that like button. And again, remember that this new t-shirt is available for you as well on the website at www.earthevolution.com, and you could pick that up no problem. Ships off pretty quick, though be a little patient because it does take some time to produce. Each shirt is printed to order and then shipped directly to you, available in the United States. Comes in white, as you can see what I'm wearing, and then also midnight blue. Thank you all so much. Wishing each and every single one of you well. Please take care of yourselves. I'll see you all in the next video.